How can I connect to Mother Nature's energy better in a chaotic world? Yeah, this one is multifold because I think it depends in some respects on like where you are. So if you're in California, that's sometimes I feel like easier because I can just go to the beach and I've got like the endless ocean available to me to tap into and to connect to and to feel into and to feel cleansed by. If you're sitting in, and there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're sitting in a tiny little apartment in New York City, surrounded by concrete, it can feel like really, really claustrophobic from a Mother Nature perspective. And that's why the big cities have put together, I don't know what you call them, but, like Central Park, right? Like all these mandates for a certain amount of nature to still be within cities. But the one thing I don't want anyone to forget about that is absolutely always connected to Mother Nature, which is breath, the power of breath. And how oftentimes we just don't think about the availability of the energy in breath and in oxygen, and just really feeling deeply within us that power. The sunlight, oh my goodness, unless you're in, I don't know, like maybe Finland or someplace, or maybe Antarctica, or maybe Alaska, maybe that's a tough one, but even then, just go get a really bright white light. Connect to the light. Even in the night, you can ask for the light and the light will be shown to you. And just connect in, because that's your higher self. That's the multi-dimensional version of yourself, to connect into light, connect into sun, connect into the prana of the earth. So there's easy ways to do this. You don't have to be lucky and I say lucky, but because I feel lucky, being close to a big body of water or the ocean, and also just trees. I know a lot of people like to tease people about hugging trees, but trees are just amazing. And so are the flowers. You can hug a tree, give away your worries to the tree, ask the tree, sit underneath a tree. Buddha sat underneath a tree, right? Isn't that the story, and became enlightened? So sitting with Mother Nature is just such an easy way to do this. The other thing that was coming to me is, I've shared this so many times, but flowers are so magnificent. And I was also reading a card that talked about the seed, right? And how the seed of a flower does not know anything about being a flower. And yet it takes off its protective shell and allows itself to be vulnerable. And the most vulnerable part is when it's coming up through the mud and it's a sprout. And how tender a thought that is. And yet with such vigor, flowers grow out of rocks. They grow out of crazy places, and they show up and they shine the light and they just connect in. And so I always find the flowers, as many of you know watching this show for so long, as like the biggest, best teachers out there, because they just, through rain or shine, even wind, even getting blown aside, they just show up and shine the light. And they just show us how beautiful it is to trust in nature. So again, back to the basics, just breathe, breathe, breathe. Breath is a currency. Oxygen is a currency. The air is a currency. The air is medicine. The air clears our head. The air fills our lungs. The air fills our bellies. The air really just brings us into presence. It's like that place of knowingness. And when we have our breath, we can do anything, and we can tap in to that inner wisdom at any time. And we also bring our oxytocin levels up as opposed to our cortisol levels, right? So we want to get out of the fight and flight, and we want to deepen our breath, our deep, deep belly breaths, going in and coming out. And so sometimes just that alone, and it does, you could set your alarm for every hour on the hour to take 3 deep breaths. We don't have to make this some big, long thing. It's nice if you can, but if you can't, just take 3 big, deep belly breaths at each hour, and it'll bring your awareness back to presence and awareness to source within you. All right, so I hope that helps. Connecting to Mother Nature's energy, I love it. Go surfing if you can. I'm not a surfer, but I've always wanted to be. We're all in it together. And I so love that you guys ask all these questions. Please, please come back next week. You can go to bethbell.me. There's a state of the heart assessment. I think you would love this if you haven't already taken it. You'll see where your state of the heart is. Look, we can be in one state one day and another state the next day. So we know that it's transient, it moves. And the most important thing to do is to have a spiritual toolbox to help us get through these transitions from one state of the heart to another. And so I'll also invite you to the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership. There's an application on bethbell.me as well. I would love to see you in there. We go much deeper on a lot of these topics. It's the free Q&A show is always going to be here at 11:11 on Sundays Pacific time. And the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership is a much deeper space, place, sanctuary where we get into and really release a lot of this so that we can tap deeper into our own inner wisdom. I look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you so much, and wishing you only bliss and love on the journey. Namaste.